Well, this 9 o'clock, we will call the meeting to order, and please stand with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everyone, this is a regular,
Good afternoon.
April meeting of the Pipestone County Commissioners.
We'll slide a little closer to you. Maybe.
Okay, is that better?
I think so, try it.
Is this better?
Thank you.
The regular, April 28th, 2026, Pipestone Commissioners meeting. Are there any additions to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, for the consent agenda, I have add-on commissioners warrants in the amount of $16,881.69, $16,881.69. I also have the treasurer's reports, item number 5 for February and March 2026. At 9:02 with Nick Bergman, highway engineer. He has have an add-on in your packet, Casey Jones Trail pedestrian ramps, discussing that as well. Kyle Creer at 9:30, Eden Township Environmental Assessment Sheet. There's a copy of a county wellhead protection area map that was in the packet, shows what's going on in the county. I'll make copies and leave those for anybody in the audience here. And at 11:15 a.m., Assessor Gene Nelson will present a request for purchase of office furniture. Mr. Chairman, that's what I have for additions today.
Mr. Chairman, with those additions, I'll move the agenda.
I'll second it. Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We have the consent agenda, have our minutes from April 14th, 2026 meeting. Commissioner warrants of $91,083.49. Add-ons of $16,881.69. Auditors warrants from 4/17 and 4/24/26. Hospital warrants $163,176.51, and the treasurer's reports from both February and March of 2026.
Mr. Chair, motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Nick?
All right. All right, first up to me today, I received a letter from for the Boxcar Wind project. They're asking for comments ahead of time. And I'm just curious if there's anything you'd like me to relay ahead of time. I think there'll be more opportunity, but I was just gonna mention that, you know, how they've done the road use agreements in the past seem to make sense to me and work out well for us. So I was gonna comment that I like how that worked. Don't have to do it that way, but that's just my 2 cents on it. But if any of you had any other comments, I would include them as well.
To be in the corner of the, we are corner,
Correct.
northeast corner.
Yeah, it's not gonna affect us much. It's mainly, I think, Murray and mine companies, but it gets us just a wee little bit, but. So. Okay, nobody else has any other?
If I recall, when they made the presentation, I think they're talking about roughly 7 turbines. I think was something like that, maybe possibly as much as 40 kW.
Okay, I didn't.
You know, like,
No, in our county, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's not a lot, but I just wanted to give you the opportunity to, you know, if you had any comments, you know, to let me know when I can include them with mine, but.
No, I don't think so, you know, as long as you got everything covered as far as our roads and so forth.
Yeah, that's
They're
the,
normal agreements that they have with you.
right, yeah, I'm just gonna comment that I like how it's been done in the past.
Same thing, so.
They can convince anyone to extend the transmission line down here.
Be better, yeah.
I don't know if that's the right people, but,
No.
No, probably not.
We didn't, this was information, you don't need access.
No, nothing needed. It's kind of a late week for me, so and that happened to come across my desk, so I just thought that's what was in there. Then quick little construction update. There's equipment on the County Road 25 project now. See that out there. They're gonna be starting soon, and then as well as the overlays, so. Getting everything right on top of each other right in the beginning of the year, so we'll be stretched pretty thin, but a lot of stuff happening in the near future, so that's good. And then lastly for me, yesterday I received a cooperative agreement from the DNR. It's just so we can update the ped ramp for the Casey Jones Trail, the ADA standards. I think we really need to do that. It matched their other ped ramps. It's kind of a long agreement, but it's really just a better type agreement from them. You know, it talks about like the thing we're subject to a state audit, all that doesn't really mean anything because we are anyway, so I just need board approval to enter into this agreement with them, and then send a copy against me. That's
Are you gonna do that with this road project?
yes. Got it.
Good time.
So it's County Road 25, the only crossing we have to address at this point, or?
Yep, the others are done.
Okay.
They skipped this one. I'm not really sure why. I assume it's because they knew we were coming with the road.
Yeah.
The local trail supervisor, you know, he's in support of it. It's just one of those things. It's their trail. We have their disagreement. Work with it, so.
Well, it'll be level.
What's that?
It's pretty much level there.
Yeah, this is just gonna be like a concrete. Like flared apron with truncated domes in it for the visually impaired.
Right.
Yeah, that's all it does.
I know there's been some question in the past about sign light visibility on the east side of 25, but that'll be addressed with the redraining and so forth. That's got nothing to do with that.
Those trees got trimmed back like a year ago, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it was last summer. So it used to be, there's like bushes and stuff like right up to the edge of the road,
But we've got a new right away there now, don't we?
not on the trail,
Oh,
just on the road.
yes,
Yeah, so those bushes that were impairing the line of sight, those are moved back.
that's what I meant. Or thought.
Yep.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, I think we did that, or whoever did that, I think it was last summer, so.
I make a motion to approve the update to the ped ramps on the Casey Jones Trail, County Road 25.
And I agree. I decided to.
Okay, any further discussion, any questions?
Actually, I need, approval to enter into the cooperative agreement with this. I think that's what the minutes need to say.
That's my motion.
I see.
Perfect. Any further questions or comments? Not all those in favor? Those
Luke, do you want to address the fact as far as the one, we've got visitors, we got 2 members missing, we still have a point. Yeah. If there's any questions, want to clarify that.
Any other questions for me? Otherwise, that's all I had for today.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sounds
Thank
good.
you.
I'll stick around for the employee recognition. I think everybody's showing up for mine, so.
Great.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. See. Bill, down here. Anyway.
Good morning.
Morning, Bill.
Morning, Bill. I'm bringing today, some more Microsoft packs here. We've got to buy some more core licenses for the new servers that we deployed sheriff's office. Part of this was dealing with what we could buy. More cores and what's any questions about license?
Are part of the servers then being used for the body cams as well too? That's part of this, or?
So That watch guard system is completely cloud-based,
Oh, okay.
so that, these servers don't even have bandwidth.
You got a quote in for $11,160.40. Were you able to get a second quote for anybody or not?
So this is off the state contract, and this is from our state vendor that we buy this from, so we have the lowest price that we'd be able to find.
Very good. Well, Mr. Chair, I'll move that we approve this request for this purchase of $11,160.40.
I'll second that. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. We go on the other business.
Yeah.
Fairgrounds use and.
Mr. Chairman, board members, I do have a request for fairgrounds use. Request is to approve relay for light use of fairgrounds in the Blue Exhibit Building on August 13th, 2026, during the late afternoon and early evening for the annual Relay for Life. Melissa McCorkadale, the Relay for Life Chair, requesting the use of the fairgrounds again this year for the annual event at no charge for the community event. And she will provide a certificate of insurance to the county prior to the event. We did authorize this last year. We had a very good event, well attended, had music. They wanted to do it later in the year, after the fair, so that way the tent is still up, so they can get underneath that for weather, that type of thing. So recommendation would be for the board to approve that.
I'll make that motion for approval, use the fairgrounds.
I will second that. Discussion, said this is the second year that they've been there. It worked real well last year. They've been in a number of different places, man, school, they've been courthouse and so forth. It's a church program. So I think that's a very good use of fairgrounds. I'm glad they're at Bell.
When is the fair this year?
Last week in July.
It is.
The first week,
It's first week of August.
but we have weeks before this.
Yeah, and it always beats that ends up and does Thursday that up for.
Sure.
Yeah, week.
Yeah, the fair will occur first, and then the relay for life will be after that.
Okay.
And is it the fair board that takes care of putting it up and taking it down?
Yes.
Any other questions? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. VSO reappointment.
Renee is here, so good.
Okay.
I'm here speaking with County my 4-year term is up. So I would ask you to guys let me stay on with you for another 4 years.
I jump right in there.
Sure.
I move that we do, when we point to the fourth term, and like to have that you've done a terrific job, and I appreciate what you've done, not just for myself, for other veterans. Good work.
Thank you. I do have figures for you. I do know that you guys like to have a little bit of update. And I normally give you the figures of what I bring in. Assist veterans and their families with bringing into the county, and I calculated from April to April of this year. I have assisted in bringing $293,472 into the county just in retro payments. That does not include their monthly, so that of course would bring that figure up, but for the sake of ease of calculating, it's a lot easier to just do the retro, so.
That's nice. I'll second Dan's motion. Okay. Any further discussion? Yeah, I only hear good things. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem, thank you.
All those in favor?
Be honored to have Renee again with another 4 years, so that she's doing a great job. Really appreciate her work. Good work for the county. Thank you so much.
Thank you, I love my job, so thank you so much.
Okay, we do have a motion a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much.
Dr. Woods for another 4 years.
I can't believe it. Are you sure you did the math right? That's only easy.
I've been here for 8. Can you believe it?
How can it be?
I know. Amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Anything personnel?
Personnel, you want to do? Okay, none.
Morning.
Or
I have 2 action items being presented to you today. The first is a request for board action to approve the artificial intelligence acceptable use policy as presented. You're being presented with a new policy governing how county personnel may use artificial intelligence tools in the workplace. The policy covers all employees, elected officials, contractors, and volunteers. It aligns with the Minnesota Data Practices Act, HIPAA, and CJIS requirements. The key provisions of the policy are that it prohibits entering sensitive or protected data into AI platforms. It requires a human review of all AI-generated work, addresses privacy, bias, and accuracy, and aligns clear roles and responsibilities across departments. The goal is to allow practical day-to-day use of AI while protecting county data and public trust. I am requesting to approve the artificial intelligence acceptable use policy as presented.
It's just a policy for everything, isn't it?
It's there is just
I'll make most of it. Yeah.
And I was like that, and that's this policy number, so you dash 1/4 the policy number.
And for just AI, I'm still a fan of actual intelligence. Yeah. I understand there's uses for it, so.
Yeah.
Yes.
What resources did you use to draft this policy at AMC held, I would assume?
AMC, the HR Technical Assistance Program, 5 different county policies. I can remember them all, Stearns, Dodge, Clay. The NACO artificial intelligence policy, they actually had 3 county policies available for reference. After I spent weeks of drafting, combining those policies, making them pertinent to Pipestone County, I then threw that into AI along with all of the samples that I was reviewing, and it came back with an incredible policy, which I then reviewed. Aspects of this policy that are not noted are the use of AI in law enforcement. So currently the sheriff's office is still reviewing their section of it and how that plays a role in their day-to-day operations. But yes, along with AI and a handful of other counties, we came up with this policy. I did have our labor attorney review it, our county attorney, and our MCIT risk management consultant is currently reviewing it, along with a resource Bill had to check it out. And his response was it was one of the most all-inclusive AI policies that he's seen.
Well, thank you for that. It's obvious you spent some time on this, and thank you for reaching out to those other resources as well. I assume that if we do find some areas that we want to correct, we can amend this at any time, or does that have to be an annual basis?
Absolutely, you can amend it at any time, and that will be happening as regulations continue to progress. We still have two months left of the legislative session, so I do anticipate some AI regulations being determined by the end of that. As we use this more within the county, we will establish enterprise accounts with the platforms, which keeps that data even more secure. So that will be something that will be added into the policy as well, that users are only using those enterprise accounts within the AI platforms.
I heard opinions that AI generated documents tend to give a little bit more worry than others. Would you concur with that or?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, and there's a whole nother aspect of using AI is being trained on how to use AI. And when something comes back to where you say, hey, clean it up, give me the meat and potatoes, I don't need all of this. And it will come back with a more condensed version.
We have a motion and second. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next item for action is resolution 59/21/26 to formally recognize county employees for their years of service. 5-year milestones. Purpose of the resolution is to acknowledge their dedication, commitment, and contributions to county government and residents. Later in today's meeting, I will individually be presenting all employees with their recognition awards. As you see in the resolution, we do have some employees from 2004 and 2005 that were inadvertently missed during recognition, so I wanted to make sure that their years of service were acknowledged because we do value their contributions.
24 and 25.
In 24 and 25 and 26.
Right? Very good, guys.
I'll make a motion for resolution 59.
And I will second.
Any further discussion?
It's gotta be wrong because each year has gone by as fast.
Hey. All right, if there's nothing else, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next up, we have one employee status change. We have a new hire for our IT technical internship position. That's Gustavo LaCruz. Not gonna say his middle name. I know I'll slaughter it, but he will be starting on May 11th. Currently a student at SMSU, majoring in computer science and cybersecurity. So it'll be a great asset to have on the team. We still have a open jailer dispatcher position. We have a first round of interviews scheduled for next week, so fingers crossed. One brief update I have is regarding the SHIP, the Statewide Health Improvement Partnership Community Leadership Team. I met with Katie Chapman, who's our current SHIP coordinator in the Southwest Health and Human Services region, to discuss our employee wellness initiatives. During that meeting, I was invited to join the 6-county SHIP Community Leadership Team. They meet every other month to discuss health strategies across the 6-county area with a focus on reducing chronic disease. These meetings will bring together community members, partners, and public sector staff to help direct the SHIP programs and resources locally. Our active participation in these meetings will influence funding decisions and better align our initiatives with local priorities rather than responding after the decisions are made. So I'm excited to be a part of this collaboration with them. And just a few upcoming events next week is Public Service Recognition Week. On Tuesday, we will have our Not So Average Employee Appreciation Potluck from 11 to 1 here in the community room. And we'll be providing dessert in honor of our employees receiving their years of service milestones. Same day, we have mediation with our LELS deputies. Later next month, we have our 3rd negotiation meeting with our jailer dispatchers group. And then looking forward to June, our annual board cookout on June 16th. Comments, questions?
Our part-time IT person, so what kind of that gonna be? just during the summer months when he goes back to school.
Yep, just during the summer months, so May through mid-August is the plan, up to 40 hours a week, Bill was thinking.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We're gonna recess for a few minutes, just to show. Okay, we'll recess till 9:30, recess till 9:30. Morning, good morning.
Just to be clear, I've got two things on the agenda, the conditional use permit for the quarry and then the environmental assessment worksheet, which is separate items, so I'll cover the worksheet environmental review stuff after the conditional use permit, so. So you should all have in your packets the recommendations from the planning commission. Hearings were held on March 31st and on April 7th for a proposed quarry to be located just northeast of Jasper, section 33 of Eden. The planning commission provided the findings that their proposer, Stepaniak, William D. Stepaniak Incorporated is proposing to have a 39.5 acre quarry. They're planning to strip the site that is currently kind of cropland pasture area, create berms to the west and the south. And then they will be blasting and proposing to crush the quartzite rock that is there, and then providing that to jobs that they receive in the area that'll be hauled out to those. So there was discussion on traffic. The plan is for all the traffic to be going south to the Blacktop County Road, just that goes through Jasper there. And the applicant did say they would be maintaining the gravel road to the south. They're proposing operation hours to be 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. However, a lot of discussion was had on that they are only going to be crushing and hauling rock when they have a job, which they anticipate to be about once, maybe twice a year. And it takes about 3 weeks to crush a blast. So once they blast, it takes about 3 weeks to crush, and then they will be hauling that material out and likely not be back in the pit until they get their next job, which may be another year possibly. They didn't know that, how often that is, but it's not that frequent. And then their typical operating hours are Monday through Friday, sun up to sundown. So they wanted the flexibility of having that additional work time in case there was rainfalls that would delay things where they would get behind and have to catch up. So they're not anticipating working extreme hours, but that was discussed, that to leave that flexibility in there. And the proposed pit is going to be about 50 feet deep. When it's all said and done, it's going to take a number of years before they get to that point. So the recommendations from the planning commission are to approve the conditional use permit with the following conditions. That the subcontractor and the applicant, they operate and manage the quarry as it was presented. The haul road be to the south, ensuring that traffic does go south rather than, having trucks come back from the north. The contractor shall maintain the gravel township road, and that there be dust control measures implemented on the haul road and on the crushing equipment in the pit. So that was going to address the dust issues. Our ordinance does require, it talks about the term of the permit. So the permit shall be valid for 10 years with a 5-year compliance certification. And there is a surety requirement of $50,000 that shall be provided to Pipestone County to address any potential negative impacts that might come about that the applicant would not be addressing, to ensure the county has some capabilities to address those concerns, provided that the applicant wouldn't already be doing that. And then the last thing is that they shall comply with all others, federal, state, and local requirements. So that is the proposal and the recommendation from the planning commission.
Well, I watched the videos from both of the planning commission meetings. And it was mentioned by several members that the public would be allowed to make comments at the county board meeting. Even though I realize this is not a public hearing, I think we're gonna allow some public feedback just since members of the planning commission, they're generously offering it up. So if anyone, wants to come and speak on this matter, we'll take comments.
I have a quick question before that, Evil.
Sure.
Tom Cresco said the Zoom meeting link was not valid and he would like to be part of this meeting. He just texted and said he wasn't able to get on and he would like to. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
And Mr. Chair, if I may comment on this, the public comments. We've got time, we're not that rigid, so we, even though it's not required of us by any means, we certainly welcome and appreciate the fact that you guys have come to share your thoughts with us, so I'm glad you're here.
It seems like every time we use Zoom, there's a problem.
It should be pretty simple. I mean,
Right.
it should just be a matter of hitting invite to Tom if he wants to, but
Right. Unless the number got mixed up or something.
Get Ryan in here in a minute. We'll get him on.
Steve, do you want to invite Tom? You want to just invite him?
Yeah,
If you want me to bring up his email?
let's see if this works. Get that? Me.
If you want to click invite and then here's his email. It might be the simplest. Up on the top box in the middle there, say invite. Then find. You can do Gmail, that's fine, it shouldn't matter. Oh, maybe not, sorry. Okay. No, you don't have this. Right, so, yep. What link do you want?
That invite thing. So.
Oh, that personal meeting ID?
Yeah. 496. That one.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the number that you gave me yesterday.
496940. 7403. Those should be. I can get a response yet.
Great.
I'll tell her.
Good, good here.
Suck.
Is that the correct number? I'm sending you this.
Oh,
I don't know, Billy, it'll get on, they said he'd try if he could.
I said, I swear, I said.
Let's see if I can do anybody now.
Steve Mike.
Goes to it.
Yep. You won't, get master password, I send no passwords for.
but if you put them in the week in the lobby, then we don't have to send a password, I think.
I don't remember, I got them yesterday, it's different.
Things. Oh, there it's. Sure.
Be on the late work. You're in the meeting room, so you're waiting for the host, so we just need to figure out how to let you in. But it says he's in the wait room, is what Tom is saying.
Are you signed up on the right number? Please.
We're not seeing you come in, so that's the confusing part. Did you get under the new link that I sent you? Oh.
That one's the number you gave me yesterday.
That's weird. He said he's in the meeting room, it's waiting for the meeting to start.
The same thing we did last time, we did that hearing too.
We've got IT looking at it too, so. We're not seeing you through the link. Yeah, but. No.
You need to go. You go do them.
Thanks. Nobody wants to see that.
We can all sing.
We're giving the house, you was gonna see around here.
Get this some more, so.
Yeah.
I can't stand. An extra 7 on there. I guess I forgot like Reynolds. I actually, they're nicer, just not like. I like it if you were a lot of this working on. Try and leave me.
Who's any new text down?
The one that can be 847.
Just. So they have to wait the time.
It's 920. That 0. 0497. Reading right.
It's been 2-0, they're able to go and so.
Hey, first, I want to skip a line, and Friday, it's 4%.
Here's a new number. Hey, just. Oh, we see it.
You're in, but you give that to Chris too?
I did, yeah.
Chris.
Good morning, Tom.
Morning.
Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Looking forward to it.
Do you have any time constraints, Tom, or?
I've got another meeting at 11, so
Okay.
You can really
It
see
should be
good
okay
shots
then.
back there, yeah.
We were planning to take some public comments first, here, I guess.
no problem.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so, does anyone want to speak to this matter? Please come up to the podium, state your name and,
If I may, Kyle, could you give us a little background on this whole history, so we start beginning, so. I understand from this that the property owner is Robin Lena Carlson.
Correct. Yep.
And the parcel ID that is 04.003.030. So are they going to sell this property or are they going to lease this property?
Nope, the property is for sale. The purchase agreement is pending approval of the conditional use permit for the quarry. And so we ran the conditional use permit in both their names. Once this is recorded, assuming the transfer hasn't taken place, that's why the owner's name is currently on the conditional use permit also.
And the reason for the conditional use permit is because this is zoned agricultural, this can be used for a quarry, is that correct?
Right now, the county's ordinance requires a conditional use permit for any mining operation. So it's currently zoned, and this is a long story, we won't go into that, but it's currently zoned urban expansion. Many of the areas around the cities are due to the feedlot ordinance in the 90s as a buffer, which is currently no longer not needed due to the mile setback that we have from cities. So it's currently zoned as urban expansion, which is ultimately the same uses as ag, which require a conditional use permit requirement for any mining or quarries. And then the typical process is the planning commission holds the public hearings, makes recommendations to the board. The board takes final action on that. You do have authority to add conditions as you choose or as you see fit. Or you can do whatever you choose or wish with the actions. So
or seek additional information.
correct.
So then, the owner of the quarry then and Carlson both then came to the planning commission with this request.
The owners were not present. They signed the purchase agreement, which we used as acknowledgement that the Stevaniaks are purchasing the pit as the new owners.
And is there existing pit on this property now of any kind?
There is a very old area that was disturbed, and I wouldn't call it a pit or a quarry, but there is some disturbed rock.
Okay. So then it came to the planning commission. The planning commission's had 2 meetings on it.
Correct.
So the planning commission's recommendation to the county commissioners is for approval or denial of this particular.
Yep.
You are recommending that we approve this, is what you're saying.
Yep, the recommendation was approval with the conditions that I listed 1 through 7.
And the findings of fact, it's a long page,
Right.
legal side.
Okay, thank you for that recap. I'll do this to get yourself and everybody else up to speed on just where and why we're talking.
Great.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me okay? On this? Okay, I'm Vance Walgrave, and I'm the owner of the East Jasper Quarry. And we're here again for our concerns. One of the things I wanted to talk about this morning is everybody is aware of what quartzite is. It's different from a lot of other rocks. And the one thing that's unique about quartzite is you take a big block of it and you bust it, it's got sharp edges. And if you bust it again, it's got sharp edges. And you can follow it all the way down until you get microscopic and it's got sharp edges. It's so putting this in perspective, I got a letter from Paul Steen that he is in very good shape. He's got silicosis in the lungs, and I tried to get him here, and he said he can't breathe. How am I supposed to do this? So he wrote me a letter, kind of a testimonial thing there about himself and everything. And I'm going to read it to you. I, Paul Steen, age 82, writing regarding the proposed worry to crush operation northeast of Jasper by William, however you pronounce it. I respectfully ask commissioners and all involved to reconsider allowing this project to move forward. I strongly oppose the operation due to its proximity to the village of Jasper, the serious long-term health risks it presents. Crushing rock produces fine dust that simply does not settle. It lingers in the air and is inhaled by residents. This exposure is linked to chronic bronchitis, asthma, persistent coughing, chest pain, other respiratory issues. And a particular concern is respirable crystalline silica, which is known to cause severe and irreversible lung disease such as silicosis and pulmonary fibrosis. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know if I'm pronouncing these right. This is not theoretical to me, it's personal. I worked for Jasper Stone Company for 25 years from 1964 to 1989. I never smoked. Yet shortly after leaving, I was diagnosed with silicosis, a progressive and irreversible disease caused by inhaling silica dust. Scars in my lungs have permanently reduced my ability to breathe and significantly impacted my quality of life. No one should have to live with this, especially not children or families who simply live nearby. I have also known co-workers, both older and younger, who passed away with their health complications believed to be linked to long-term dust exposure. This proposed site is near areas where families gather, the city, splash pad, campground. There are places where people expect to be safe. Beyond health concerns, this project raises concerns about noise, traffic, property values, and the long-term vitality of our community. At the time when rural towns were working hard to attract and retain families, this kind of development sends the wrong message. I urge you to carefully consider whether this operation is worth the lasting impact it may have on the health of residents and the future of Jasper. We have all worked hard to build and maintain this community. Please do not put it at risk. Thank you for your time and consideration, Paul Steen, Jasper. Okay, Paul worked for 25 years in that quarry and breathing this dust. One thing about quartzite dust, other than regular bacteria and everything else like that we suck into our lungs, the body expels it. This stuff does not expel it. It sits in it and it keeps piling up, piling up, piling up. Paul went for 37 years before all of a sudden couple of years ago, he said it hit him. And all of a sudden, he couldn't breathe. He'd been hearing this stuff in there a long time. They did tests on him and tests. Finally, they scoped his lungs and they said, your lungs are full of scar tissue from the silica dust. And it's only gonna keep getting worse. He's lost 65 pounds in the last couple of years. He's having a hard time breathing. Every time he goes to the doctor, they say, well, you've gone from here to here, and it's going to keep going. This is what happens. So I was really concerned about this. I started asking a lot of questions around, and I got stories from a lot of different people and everything, but nobody wants to come up front, stand in front of somebody and talk about this. Gun shy, I am. So I finally did find somebody that I had just remembered talking to them, and I put their name is on this second letter that I'm going to talk about. But I'm going to call it Jim and Janet because of privacy concerns. The big thing I heard from everybody I talked to, they had one common denominator. I don't want to be targeted. I don't want to have people start harassing me because of what I said. So everybody bailed out except these two people. So regarding the dust coming off the quarry, I was feeling kind of comfortable with Sepanic's reasoning that they were going to put water down and run water and everything else like that. I wasn't feeling very comfortable with it, but after they told me this, the second letter that I'm going to read, this is from this couple here. In regards to opening a new quarry near a town, we are raising concern about silicon dust coming from the quarry about half a mile from our son's acreage. When dust control measures like watering are used, the issue is much better. However, on those days when those measures aren't in place, especially on Sundays, during the winter time, there's a significant amount of silica dust traveling into his area. They are really concerned about this because they have told me they go out there and they're half a mile from this quarry. We're talking a half a mile from the quarry here, the whole town of Jasper. And the studies, the scientific studies have said that 1.8 or 1.6 miles from a quarry like this is the heaviest fallout area. Now, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, oh, so it isn't when they're working, it's when they're not there that this happens. In the wintertime, they said it's awful. And they're not even hardly working up there. But this silica dust is so fine that it's just poof and it's up in the air all the time. So if that's the case, and we have a quarry that close to Jasper, and we know it's carcinogenic and everything else like that, where are people going to go playing outside, kids playing outside and everything else like that? It's, to me, it's really getting scary. And the fact that, okay, it's Wednesday and winds out of the west, we're okay. No, 3 days before, the wind was out of the northeast, and that dust is already there. It's on the streets, it's on people's roofs. That fine little dust that you wipe off your windshield once in a while, that's silica dust. It's already there. Every time a car goes by, oof, you see a little bit of dust. Big truck goes by, you've all seen that big pile of dust. All that silica dust that was later there, right back up in the air again. Go ahead.
And this couple that you're referring to this letter, this isn't a couple that lives by Jasper, they live someplace else by another quarry, is that correct?
They live down by Laverne. And their son lives a half mile from
Another
a
quarry.
Rock County quarry. Yes. Yes. So all of a sudden this dust is up in the air all the time, because if it rains, it washes it down. Puts it on the ground, it's okay. But every time the wind comes up, and the fact that they're going to be working this quarry only twice a year and everything else like that, that dust is readily available for everybody year around. So the more I was thinking about this, if this quarry is passed into existence, that means a certain amount of commissioners have said this is okay. So 20 years down the line, 30 years down the line, if there's a big uptick of respiratory illness in Jasper, if there's, or silicosis, all these other diseases and everything else like that, if there's a big uptick in it. Now, let's jump a little fence here. Okay, every time I get a cold, serious cold, first thing I do is I run around in my head chasing, I wonder who gave this to me, because I gotta blame somebody. But my wife says that's crazy because you can't tell who did that and everything. Well, if this passes and this quarry is allowed to open, what's the date today? September.
April 28th.
April 28th, 2026. Okay, people will be able to go back in the calendar and say, oh, we know who unleashed this demon on the place. And it'll be in records forever. And the fact that we know how carcinogenic this stuff is, how dangerous it is, and then that demon was unleashed on Jasper, Minnesota. Thanks for listening to me.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else?
I gave you the packet that looks fat, but it's
Please.
really not that. Oh, my name is Katie Walgrave.
Okay.
So the things that I would like to point out are directly from your ordinances, Pipestone County ordinances, and I'll be reading directly from that. Section 3 through 6 conditional use permits for Pipestone County. The County Planning Commission shall recommend no conditional use unless said commission shall find that the conditional use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted, nor substantially diminish and impair property values within the immediate vicinity. I talked to the local people of Jasper when we stopped at the city council meeting. There were only, I don't know, probably maybe 20 people at this meeting. When I attended the meeting on April 14th, I addressed the people of Jasper and I posed the direct question. Would you purchase a piece of property near a crushing quarry like this? The answers of the people was a resounding no. One single voice piped up and said, maybe if the price was low enough, I would take the risk. That voice will forever be in my mind because if the value of our homes and our recreational places is so far beneath the market worth, then that one person was willing to purchase it. Everyone else, no. To me, that was a pretty big statement saying that yes, the property value of the people whose homes are near there and our recreational space, that would not be worth its market value. Tom Cresco, you see his little face on the screen there. Hi, Tom, I'm talking about you for a minute. Tom Cresco is the DNR hydrologist for Southwest Minnesota, so I would consider him an expert. According to him, and he can probably talk about this if he feels like it, the likelihood of our pond being drained is high. He said that there was a similar experience at a quarry in Cottonwood County, in which the area wells were actually drained when they quarried that area. So this is not like totally out of line that this could happen.
He stated at the April 7th zoning committee meeting that there is Minnesota resource free for use that will conduct a water study to determine the location of aquifers and the direction that they are flowing. This is a free study that will be provided by the state to help determine if this proposed quarry would do permanent and irreversible damage to the local wells, established pond, and the Topeka Shiner habitat, which is in Split Rock Creek. I just want to point this out. I hope you have this map. This is the proposed quarry area. They're talking about allowing the water to drain this direction. This is the map provided by the county. And right here is Split Rock Creek, which is Topeka Shiner habitat, by the way. All right, so section 3 through 6, conditional use permits for Pipestone County. This is number 5. That adequate measures have been or will be taken to prevent offensive odors, gases, fumes, dust, noise, and vibration, so that none of these will constitute a nuisance, and to control lighted signs and other lights in such a manner that no disturbance to neighboring properties will result. You turn the page, I have an air quality violation from William D. Saponiak Incorporated in Hollingford, which is their own main home base, I guess I'm going to call it. This is as reported by MSHA, which is like the OSHA of mining. And this was in 2022. So we already have a history of air quality violations. And this is just when you get caught. Vance read to you the Paul Steen testimony. He wrote a letter in regards to his lung diagnosis. Silicosis is a very real danger, of which we're already seeing evidence. A lot of times it will be there for 20, 30 years before you see the really detrimental effects of it. So unfortunately, he is seeing the effects now, but someone who's 30 years younger, they might already have this silica dust issue and they might not be seeing the evidence yet, but it's there. The next page is the other letter that he read about the Rock County quarry and the people who live near there. And if you turn the page, sections 3 through 6, conditional use permits, subsection 8, purpose. And again, these are directly from your Pipestone County ordinances. Number 3, is compatible with the existing neighborhood. In the event the property in question is located within 2 miles of a municipality in Pipestone County, a conditional use permit may be granted only after review and recommendation by the governing body of such a municipality. I went to the Jasper City Council meeting on April 14th, 2026. The Jasper City Council was totally unaware of this proposed quarry. They had never received any notice. And it's my understanding that, Kyle, you sent an email or something to the mayor.
No, the process that we do is we notify the city clerks.
Okay, the city clerk.
Correct.
So the city council, totally unaware of this proposed quarry. They'd never even heard of it. The only person in that meeting that had heard of it was the mayor herself. And without their review and recommendation, the Pipestone commissioners cannot legally approve this proposed quarry. The residents of Jasper are within a half a mile of this proposed quarry. None of them received any notice whatsoever either.
Just to follow up on that, Kyle, do you want to explain what notice happened or?
So our noticing requirement is we notice any neighbors in the rural areas with anyone within a half a mile. And then within municipalities, anybody within 500 feet is who we would notify, in addition to the township and the city. So if the city clerks do not forward the information to the council, that's not out of my control. But I did call the city specifically prior to the hearing, asking if there was any concerns, and they, like I said, like you've probably heard, they indicated that they had no concerns and that they were welcoming the economic development.
And yet the city council gave no recommendation and did not review this. And I did call I followed up after that meeting. I called and talked to, I believe her name was Renee, in the city office. And she said, as of right now, there is no plan to have a meeting to recommend this project. And I asked her when and where notices would show up in case they decided to have a meeting. And she said that to check back on their Facebook page, and that's where the notices would happen. And they have not had any notices of a city council meeting since then. So they have not submitted, they have not reviewed or recommended this project. Subsection D review, site plan. A site plan on which the conditional use would be located shall be furnished by the applicant and shall be presented by the applicant and any technical people employed by him for review by the planning commission at a regularly scheduled planning commission meeting. This site plan shall include, but is not limited to, soils information, neighboring land and water uses, existing and proposed structures, architectural plans, driveway locations, parking areas, highway traffic, traffic generation and circulation, drainage, waste disposal, sewage disposal systems, water supply systems, watershed protection, and flood prevention, water quality, shoreline cover, natural beauty, and wildlife habitat. The next page, I have an example of another violation by William D. Saponiak Incorporated in 2021. And this is an industrial wastewater violation in which they dumped untreated sediment-laden mine pit water into Judicial Ditch 64, which led to Lower Badger Creek. They had no permit and they did not do any type of reporting on that until they were caught and given a violation. So again, another situation of this company being untrustworthy to take care of our natural areas. You turn the page, William D. Saponiak Incorporated has done no test drilling to assess the stone layer placement or aquifer locations. Tom Cresco offered multiple times to perform an aquifer and underground water study, only to be denied. They said there wasn't time. To me, there's enough time. The company can wait, right? Once this hole is drilled, it's drilled. But if we don't do any types of studies do our due diligence to check and see if we're doing damage before we're even approving something, it doesn't make sense. Drainage is proposed to run directly into the area where the current spring flows. The current natural spring flows directly towards Split Rock Creek, a habitat of the endangered Topeka shiner. Wastewater is proposed to be disposed into this spring outlet. With a history of violations, including industrial wastewater violation, how can we trust William D. Saponiak will do anything to protect this local water, nor the wildlife in and around it? Vote no on this proposed quarry. Sending this permit request back to the zoning committee isn't going to change the cold hard facts. Our property will be devalued. Health will be affected. Mr. Saponiak will tell you whatever he thinks you want to hear, including outright lies. At the April 7th zoning committee meeting, Mr. Saponiak showed an image of a quarry by Del Rapids making the claim that this quarry was bone dry. This is an outright lie. According to the South Dakota Office of Water Rights Database, that specific quarry pumps over 1 million gallons of water per day during drought. That doesn't sound bone dry to me. And that was his evidence that the water table would not be affected in our quarry. And if you turn the next page, you can see the list. I can give you more resources on this if you'd like them, but this is just from 2009 to 2017 for an example of years, showing that their average yearly pumping of water is anywhere from 688 million gallons of water up to almost 900 million gallons of water per year. That's a lot of water for what he's claiming to be a bone dry quarry. Billions of gallons of water have been pumped from that Del Rapids LG Everest quarry since the 1950s. This quarry has never been bone dry, even during the driest years. As you can see from this document, millions of gallons of water are pumped from this on a daily basis. Doug, Luke, Dan, thank you guys for listening to what I have to say. Knowing the very real dangers of this dust and the likelihood of damaging the wells and pond of nearby residents, if this permit is passed, the legacy you leave behind is a hole in the ground and sands in the lungs of 818 people who live in the city of Jasper. Not to mention the damage to the ecosystem. Who's left holding the medical bills and paying the funeral costs? Thank you for listening to me today.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
Hey, I'm Steve Everett and our folks' house is just a half mile away. And I guess the biggest thing is, with all the other quarries already around here for years, why do we need another one to make more risk? And it seems like the only ones gonna benefit are the ones at the quarry. The city of Jasper won't benefit, the homeowners won't benefit, and seems like there's a couple people of the other committees really trying to push it through, but it makes you wonder why. If there's no money involved, what do they care whether there's a quarry there or not? But seemed like one member was kind of perturbed we were even contesting it at the meeting. Couldn't figure out why we just didn't push it through, so maybe he wants to put a quarry in his backyard. So it's a lifelong deal. Like I said, there's quarries everywhere else. Sioux Falls has huge ones, so we really don't need any more. It's not like we're short of rock anywhere. That's it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yep.
Hi, I'm Tim Everett, and I just want to remind you guys that this guy said there was zero water pumped out of the both East and West Quarry in Del Rapids. I got off the phone with the guy this morning. They did concur that they pump out 1 million gallons a day. So he's brought out a liar. He's going to be lying about everything else, I feel, that he's talking about. You can't trust him.
Anyone else?
I can, yeah, Luke and I.
Please come up to the microphone.
Not gonna be that one. You know. I'm not saying one way or the other.
Please state your name first.
Oh, sorry. Darlene Steen. Paul, it's my ex. But I lived with him 25 years and he was a very vibrant, energetic guy. He went fishing, hunting, and I mean, he had more energy than probably all of you put together. But he looks like hell, if you want to say it bluntly. His waist is probably 18 inches around. He is so thin that he can't even hardly keep his clothes on. And his breathing is horrible. He went to the doctor yesterday, and I know it was part about the breathing, but I don't know. My son thought that maybe they will have to end up putting him on oxygen. He lives at home alone, and I don't know how long he'll even be around. And I have a very sympathetic feeling for him with this situation. We had 3 children together, and yes, we got divorced, but he's still a human being, and he still cares about people. And I do care about his health. So that's about all I want to say.
Thank you. Anyone else? Tom, while we got you on the call, could you give us a little more detail on this study that you're offering to do?
Absolutely. I can file a request for technical services, and in that report, we can look for guidance and perspective on where the groundwater flow is in the area. We currently have the Minnesota Geological Survey working on the atlas is complete, and the hydrogeologic part of that is being worked on by our atlas crew in the DNR. So we do have some data on groundwater flow in the area. What this request for technical services would do would generate a professional geologist to write a report talking about where groundwater flow is in the area and potential risk to area wells, the abandoned or the old quarry that's there on the Walgrave property, and then also if there's a risk to the springs. There are also a few groundwater appropriators in the area, and I would also put that in the mix for part of that conversation to understand the risk to those area livestock wells, but also domestic wells in the area. The report, the downside is I file the request, as soon as possible, and it will take 6 to 8 months for them to get going on it and have a report in our hands. If anything comes up, that's more important, they would be working on that. So it could be easily 8 months, 10 months before you have a report in your hand, but it will be signed by a professional geologist. It will be very technical, will be very in-depth, and I would highly recommend that you take the time to look into that.
Tom, thank you for that. So can you give us some more detail about the test process itself? The drill test wells, is that how they do this?
It's a good question. The option of drilling test wells could be part of the recommendations in there for, you can drill test wells to gather more data. You can drill test wells as observation wells. It could be part of the mix. I can't say what their recommendations will be until they do the research, and that could be one of the things that come back to this conversation. And who pays for those wells certainly is another part of that conversation, but it certainly could be part of that. One of the other things that this group does is aquifer tests. For example, if you have like an irrigation or a high volume water appropriation permit in the area, they will do aquifer tests. And those aquifer tests generally require multiple observation wells, sometimes at different depths, especially with quartzite. Sometimes those do need to be called well nests, which means you have a shallower well and a deeper well side by side to see what's going on in the shallow aquifer and what's going on in the deep aquifer, because sometimes it can be very different in terms of groundwater movement and changes in groundwater levels.
In regards to the wastewater then, so the proposal here, as I understand, is the wastewater then will flow into the Split Rock Creek. Do you study that as well too, or you just study the domestic water?
Usually with our permits, and the DNR generates permits for any water use that's greater than 10,000 gallons per day or 1 million gallons per year. And most, I can't say all, but most quartzite quarries do have a water appropriation permit from us. And as part of that, they usually have a settling basin or 2 or 3 to try to take out those fines and those impurities. To answer your question directly, we require them to meet MPCA standards, and I certainly can't speak for what those would require, other than to tell you that we do require that they meet those standards. Sometimes there is specific water testing as part of that, but I can't speak to that since it's the MPCA's responsibility.
But generally, in order to protect that ground, that water going into Split Rock Creek, it would require holding basins or a lagoon system of some kind to settle those out.
Correct.
And I don't believe I've seen that any place in this proposal, have I? No. And is that a requirement that is always, or does it depend upon the amount of water pumped, or is it always required to have those settling ponds?
It depends on what their use is. Usually through this process, and as some of your speakers talked about the dust issue, they're usually using water to keep the dust down and also to wash the gravel before it's sold. As part of that mix, there's always water going back into the system. Some of that returns to the aquifer directly through those cracks and crevices, but especially in the spring and especially after large precipitation events, there can be more water than what naturally will filter into the groundwater system. So they should be prepared for that, no question about it.
In that study, do you also take a look at the domestic water supply for the municipal? I don't even know where their wells are at, their proximity and depth or anything else, but that's the type of stuff you'd be looking at.
I believe the city of Jasper has been on rural water for quite some time, but we would look at area wells, especially domestic wells, to make sure that the risk is low to those wells and their water supply, because domestic wells are our highest priority, yes.
Thank you, Tom.
Just a comment too. Tom, do you want to clarify? Because this was just talked about at the meeting too, and I have the understanding that the board considered the testing to be done, but did you not indicate that the test would not give a conclusive determination of impacts? It would just give more direction and more information?
That's the hard part, Kyle's. I can't say 100% what the results are going to be. They're going to look at all those things and give a recommendation as to what the risk is to the quarry, to the area wells, and to the livestock wells in the area. Also, I can probably put in there a request to talk about those springs, to see where the discharge and where the recharge is going to those springs that discharge into Split Rock Creek. So to answer your question, they will look at all of those things, and I can't say what their outcome will be. I can tell you that usually their recommendation looks at what is the risk to the resource, and if the risk is high, medium, or low, as to impact.
So yeah, just as a response, but kind of for the planning commission, as that was considered, there's a lot of unknowns regardless of the testing or not, and there's a lot of variability in the depth of wells that are in that vicinity between surface to 800 plus feet. So there's a mass diversity of water flows and where things come from. So speaking for the planning commission, it was considered, but they didn't feel that the result would warrant doing the testing prior to the issuance of the permit.
Yes, like I said, I watched the planning commission meetings. I understand that they took that into account themselves. I don't know that I agree with their outcome. I don't feel like the water issues have been addressed at all, frankly. I agree that we may not, maybe we won't get the I don't know what we're expecting, but I certainly think that we should be open to getting as much information as we can, and if they can provide any additional information regarding the impacts, I'm kind of leaning toward it, trying to explore that.
Jared, I'm going to agree with Luke on that issue with the water. I feel that this DNR study is necessary to verify some unknowns. And I have some concern with the dust hazard. Is there anybody that can do a study with this dust issue? Or
My understanding, and I'm not an expert at this, but I believe there are state requirements from Department of Labor and Industry on dust in the pit itself for the workers. And the planning commission's discussion on the dust was putting the condition that there be watering on the crushing equipment and on the gravel road for traffic. So that's all I can speak of.
I know MPCA is always pretty strict with things, but are they involved in this at all? Or?
There are MPCA permits that are also required under different requirements, but I don't know the details on the dust factors. That would be more of a health issue, would be my opinion, but MPCA does have dust standards, I believe, too.
And then the other thing the city council, she mentioned that needed to approve according to our policy.
Review and recommend. So what does that mean? In my opinion, it's if we give them notice of the hearing, they have the opportunity to review and make recommendations. With the mayor present, I don't feel there was any recommendations made, and that was my take on their recommendation, was there was none.
The mayor is not the governing body of Jasper.
Mayor is responsible to provide notice, and the clerks are required to provide notice to the board.
Right, so there wasn't a recommendation is my point.
But that's not our control. It's out of our control. We provided them notice. They chose not to provide notice to their council.
And that's probably what I'm asking. Do we need city council of Jasper approval? Do we?
No, we do not.
Yes or no? Do we?
No, they have like she stated, it requires them to review and recommend, but if that doesn't happen, there's nothing the county can do.
Yeah, I'll chime in as well too. I also have very serious concerns about this. First of all, just the lack of information we have. I don't feel that we can make an informed decision today. There's too many variables here. you talked about MTCA, how about, mining safety, MSHA? They weigh in on this as well, is that directed just towards the workers and not the public?
Those are additional requirements that are mandated through statutes, to my knowledge, and I'm not an expert on those either. So those are additional requirements for like everything that
So
are
again, there's a
required.
lot of information that we don't have at this point.
I'm not sure what information. I guess I wasn't aware that there was more information requested, so.
I think somebody else if you want to speak, come up to the microphone and.
Yeah, well,
Let my mom go.
you can go first. I'm the applicant, but you can go first.
Okay.
I'm trying to get up.
Joe Everett, I own the house down the hill from where this quarry is going to be. And so you're asking the people in the city of Jasper what they feel. Well, why don't you ask me? I am not for it. Because I'm the one that's gonna be most affected by all of this. When my home value is going to go down, I'm gonna get all the dust. My water might be affected by this. So I think you need to consider the neighbors in the countryside that live right near this place, not in town only. Yeah, that goes that way, and I'm down the hill to the north. So,
Yeah, and I think when we say Jasper, I mean, we're including
but I
anybody.
don't get any votes in the city of Jasper. They don't live in Jasper.
But I mean, we're not leaving you out by any means, you know, we're saying that area, I guess, when I say
Yeah.
Jasper.
You and Walgreens as well, too,
Yeah.
anybody in that vicinity, of course.
I just wanted to make sure of that.
No,
Thank you.
So, Mr. Chair, what?
Just wait, we have.
Good morning, my name is Jake Saponiak, there, I'm the applicant. Discussion here today, I guess, so I can answer a few of the questions that, you guys might still have, and then answer a few of the concerns that were brought up the last time when we had the last two public hearings there, I guess, but, so for starters, the dust concern there, as Kyle stated there, we have plans to control the dust, and the plans would be to, have water suppression on our conveyors and on our equipment there that's process the material. And then also the haul road leaving the pit there would be dust control, either even chloride or water there, one or the other, when we're doing major hauling activities there, but, yeah, it's all heavily regulated of how much dust we can have, and, how much we create, which we obviously have, we have things that we can do to prevent that, I guess, and the people that are regulated is the MSHA, which is Mine Safety and Health Administration, which we have several crushing plants there, that we process material all over the upper Midwest, really, I guess, and we get checked randomly. It's, just inspections. They just show up on any given day or any given time of the day there and inspect what we're doing. And there's, when they show up, we also have stuff that we can, measure the dust and how much dust we create and everything ourselves. But when they show up, they also test what we're doing, how much noise we're making. They have noise monitors, they have dust monitors that they put on our employees there that monitor how much dust we inhale through a shift of work there. There's a lot of guidelines, and there's one guideline that will help with the silicosis thing there, like the lady mentioned that her husband or ex-husband there has that condition, which is a very serious condition. I would 100% agree with that. To make that better and to prevent that from happening in the future for people, the MSHA this year is just put a new regulation in place. They always had regulation, but now they're tightening it up. So there's way more dramatic guidelines of what we have to follow, which basically means we can't create dust. Basically, is the guideline, and if we do, there's fines for that that go with that are pretty severe. Basically, which is why we've got that dust suppressant, which is a lot more popular in the last few years than it has been in the past, just because of that reason that they're finding out that people get that condition, and it's caused by dust, there's no doubt, but. So people that are working in the industry and around it all the time have a way bigger exposure than just the average person. But there's silicosis everywhere, and if you live in the country, or anywhere really in Pipestone, because silicosis just doesn't come from crushing rock. It comes from anybody that drives on a gravel road, you see the dust behind any vehicle, any piece of farm equipment, or if you see on a severely windy day, the dust is blowing across the plowed field, it's the same thing, it's silicosis floating in the air. So you can get that literally anywhere, but you're way higher exposure if you work in a mine or if you're by it in the constant dust all day long. That's where that comes from. So that's all that is. And like I say, the MSHA, Mine Safety and Health, they have a new statute there that they put in place that tightened it way up, and it's in effect now. This is the year that it all starts, the new regulation there. So I guess addressing that is the water thing. So that's one note, that's definitely a serious concern, and we don't have a way around not following those rules, because that's the law, you know. So that's one thing. As far as the water goes, running through the rock and you know, potentially harming neighboring wells or things like that. I brought several examples there to the planning commission stuff on the second meeting to address that, and similar rock, similar situations in the, not really the neighborhood, but around the area there would be in the Del Rapids area. There is two quarries right in town, or on the edge of town, one on each side of town. There's a river that zigzags through both of them. There's water wells for the city that are close by. There's water flowing through them. At the bottom of the quarry, they're pumping water, but the fact is, I guess maybe the point didn't get 100% across when I presented it was, yeah, the hole they have in the quarry is 200 feet deep. There's a river flowing above them. There are water wells for the city that feeds the water that is shallower than their hole is. So the point being is that yeah, there's water, but it doesn't completely drain the whole neighborhood when you dig a hole deeper than everybody else's water wells are. Could it happen? It could happen, but will it happen? Nobody will know until we dig a hole. So our proposal is 50 feet deep. The well that's on the property that we're planning on buying, if this all works, is 208 feet, which is, yeah, it's all deep they had to go to get through the rock to the water. So that's the, you know, the water concern there. And the same thing with so Del Rapids has two quarries. If you go to Sioux Falls, there's a couple quarries around town there also. It's a similar situation. They have giant holes in the ground, and there's wells around them. So that's those concerns. As far also the same concern as far as noise goes, which wasn't brought up much this morning, but it's the same scenario. Does machinery make noise? Yes, it does. Is there other instances in the area where machines are running close to the city? Yes, there is. Those two examples I just gave are perfect examples. So it's been done before, and it's not much different than running tractors around and things like that. Similar scenarios. So those are the main concerns, I think. I mean, if you guys have any other questions, I'd be glad to answer them for you. Yeah.
So I guess speaking on behalf of the planning commission, that was, and you guys did watch the videos, there was, I feel like the planning commission did a good job of gathering the data, tabling it, having another hearing, getting more input on things. So in my mind, I feel the planning commission did consider all issues, knowing that there's not going to be a conclusive answer, yes or no, to anything that's being proposed or maybe or could happen in the future. They made the recommendations for the approval with the conditions to address the best that they, in their minds, that they could, with that addition of that $50,000 surety in case there was something that would come about that would be impacted. So I'm supporting what the planning commission is recommending, because I do feel that they did go through the process as required and gathered as much data as they could.
Jake, on this property of Carlson's now, that existing hole that's there now, is that a quartzite pit or is that just, is there a
So right by the-
Pipestone?
Right by the driveway where you drive in, there's a small hole before you get to the actual farm site.
Yeah.
And it's only about 10 feet deep. And that they were, supposedly the story is what they were doing back in the day is they were getting the actual pipestone, like the carving kind of material there. That's what they were doing. And it was literally a real small, almost by hand, small machinery kind of thing there.
Which I understand.
More of a hobby than what we're gonna. Yeah. That's right by the driveway. And then across the street, there's another small hole there on the other side, which I'm assuming they were doing the same thing.
What's your plan for that part of the property if you do acquire this?
So our part of the property, I don't know if you have you looks like you have the map in front of you there.
Yeah.
Ours would be behind the current farmstead where the buildings are, or into the field behind that. That's where we would be starting. Just because the other slot is right next to the township road for one, and for two, the rock is more exposed when you go behind the. If you can kind of see on the map, you'll probably see the dots there. That's rock sticking.
So those existing buildings you'll just leave at this point?
Everything will stay the same as far as the farm area goes. The houses will be there, the farm area will be there. That'll just stay the same. We'll just be behind that in the field.
What's your feeling, Jake, as far as having the state do this study for us?
I guess my feeling with the state doing the study is, it's another resource there to get more information. But it seemed like they were pretty clear when they were here presenting. There was, Tom was on the screen there, then there was another gentleman, I don't know what his name was or title, but he also talked about the water and how it moves through rock and stuff there. It seems like there's no definitive answer if they could do this study, which could take up to a year to do, and you'll get it back and it'll be an opinion, it won't be a fact. So you'll have one more opinion of if it's gonna do it or if it's not, and the reality is nobody will know until we dig a hole in the ground and see what happens. Just because the rock changes is the difference there.
And to address that, the unknown, and then that's our concern as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're concerned about commerce, and anything we can do to help spur business in the area, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we also have a real strong duty to protect our environment and also protect people's rights and neighboring property. So I hope you understand that we're not doing this intentionally to slow you down or anything else. But once we dig that hole, it's irreversible.
Yep, no, I totally understand the point there, and part of that is the main concern with the water would be the old Jasper quarry, which is to the southeast there, I guess, which is folks sitting up front here who owns that. And the concern is that their pond is going to go dry when we dig a hole on the other side of the property line in the field. That's the main concern. They're the closest ones to where we're going to be working. And to address that is why we were talking about the water to begin with there, to make sure that doesn't happen, I guess. And there's no definitive answer if it's gonna happen, and if you do a study, that'll take a year and they get all done, and then we'll have a definitive answer either. So it's, in my opinion, the water study is a waste of time if they ain't gonna have 100% facts. Because if they don't, what's the point? You're gonna have one more opinion that's gonna say, I don't know until we start. So with that, one concern or one point, I guess, is when they did talk about their pond and a long time ago, apparently they tried using it as an irrigation pond back in I don't know if it was the 70s or 80s or what, but anyway, they used it as an irrigation pond, and they said they pumped the pond down in a week, and the pond went dry when they tried irrigating the fields around it, and it took a whole year before the water to come back up. So it took a whole year for the water to come back up to where it is now.
20 plus feet of water.
Yeah, 20 plus feet of water. That just goes to show me that it must not be running through the rock real fast if it took that long to fill back up. So it's rock. There's no doubt there's rock there. There's rock on the whole ridgeline there. It's different than sand and gravel, which we work in an awful lot. That's mainly what we work in because that's more of what's up north and west there. But if you have a sand and rock deposit, the water runs freely through the material really fast. If you're close to the water table, you dig a hole in seconds or minutes, holes filled with water. The rock is completely different, and it flows through the cracks, but it's very, very slow if it does flow through the cracks. So it's quite a bit different than sand and gravel, where it's like dumped in a weekend, where you can pump a whole neighborhood dry. If you lower the water table, it'll lower it as far as the sand and rock deposit is. Where this is solid rock, it's quite a bit different than doing that, which is why there's quarries right on the edge of towns that also have water wells that don't drain the wells. They're similar quarries that, well, it's different kind of rock, but upward, by St. Cloud, where we're from, there's a couple of quarries right in the middle of St. Cloud that's similar. They're a couple 100 feet deep, and there's houses all around them. There's apartments all around them. There's water wells all around them, and it's rock, so it doesn't drain it.
And the geology of it, St. Cloud, that's granite.
That's granite. Yep, this is quartzite, so it's different, but you know.
I've got a question for Walter as well, if I may too. So the depth of the water is about 20 feet right now. You said 25 feet.
Yeah.
Okay, and the depth of the pit itself must be another
It's probably 30 feet.
30 feet total. So 5 feet from the water level is where
But that big filling in a year, that's 2 acres of water.
that's a big pit, you know.
That's a big water hole.
And how does the water level compare historically there?
We've got pictures all the way back to 1937 with the pond being filled. These are US geology or whatever. So in 1928 is when they abandoned it. And the thing was filled 1930, and it's been full ever since.
And by full, you mean the 20-foot depth you got now, or 30-foot depth? 20 foot.
It does, the water does come down with, I mean, like right now, we are under a pretty severe drought. And there is not much subsoil. So it is down a few feet, but you get 3 inches of rain and it pops up within 2 days. You know, it'll come back up again. So it's directly controlled by those veins out in the fields and stuff like that, yeah.
And that fluctuation in your water level, you don't know if that is due to evaporation or is that seeping out through the fissures?
Little bit of both. Yeah.
Thank you.
I guess I'd like to go back to Tom, because I know he said he had another meeting at 11. When I spoke to you yesterday, I guess I got the impression that there would be more definitive answers based on the study. So if you could maybe elaborate on what we may or may not glean from this work.
You bet, and I appreciate that, Luke. You know, I have a lot of respect for Luke's opinion, and he knows sand and gravel, and he has done some quarrying. But this report will be written by a professional geologist. This is what they do all day, every day. And when I was in your meeting, the Planning Commission meeting a couple of weeks ago, I talked about transmissivity, storativity. Those are the numbers that have to do with how much water is stored in the rocks and how fast the water moves through the rocks. All of those technical terms go into play when you're talking about an operation like this. So when I tell you that the definitive answer will not be 100%, but it will have very technical and very detailed recommendations as to what is going on out there and what their recommendations are for the system to protect the stream, protect the wells, protect the spring, and of course the old quarry as well. So it is a very high level document. Nothing is 100%, but it'll be very technical, it'll be very professional, it'll be very well written. It will not be off the cuff opinion. It will not be just an idea of something. It'll be very technical and very straightforward as to what is going on out there and what their recommendations are.
And did you also say that you could possibly expedite this to?
I can try. That's my intention would be to tell them it's a high priority, but I can't. That's why I'm telling you probably plan on the longer of those times, but it could be shorter than that.
I guess with that in mind, I would move that we have the study done to find out more information if possible.
I'll second that motion.
Okay,
Just a comment, we aren't possibly able to just delay this for a year. So we are bound to the 60-day rule, so we are able to extend our decision by another 60 days, getting out to the 120. But I don't believe we're gonna be able to continually extend this decision.
I thought somewhere it says that if we don't have enough information, we're able to have studies done to,
I would like to check with the county attorney to confirm that based on the 1599, which is the 60-day rule requirement, so, I
But this motion that's been moved and seconded isn't saying we want to delay it indefinitely. What we're saying is we want to study.
no, but, obviously it would have to be enough time to have the study done,
correct.
right? But
So I'm right now, I'm anticipating that we will extend the 60-day rules for another 60 days. And I will talk to the county attorney to confirm conditions or how much flexibility we have in that decision-making timeline.
I agree with that. And that was one of the considerations I was agreeing as well too, is we need to have counsel from our county attorney. to make
Right.
sure we're doing this correctly.
Right. But I guess I thought somewhere I'd seen that, if we reach out to have the study done, that the time frame would basically stop.
That's only if you're doing an environmental review.
And why aren't we?
Well, isn't this an environmental review of something?
This is not.
I think we should have an environmental review as well.
I think it'd be wise to get legal guidance and direction on some of these questions also.
I agree. So I guess with that.
Just a comment, but I think it would be beneficial to have a full board also.
That would be helpful.
Yes.
Correct.
This,
okay.
as you know, this is unusual.
Okay, with that in mind, then I think I would withdraw my motion and go with, I would like to table this until we can consult our attorney and see where to go from here.
Okay, I'll withdraw my second of your first motion as well too. Are we still in compliance by tabling this? That's not in violation of anything by.
It's not, no, like I said, the application was received, it'll be coming up on 2 months. On May 2nd, so I will plan to,
Yeah,
I think
extend
today
it for
you could-
sure.
I think today the board could take action extending the 60 days. They give me direction to send a letter extending that 60-day rule.
Okay, yeah,
Would be,
that'd be part of my motion, to table this and have you extend this, get the 60-day extension. And then see what level of environmental review would qualify to just stop the timeline so we can get the work done.
okay.
My question before I second that is, when does the original 60-day time limit expire? That
May
was
2nd.
May 2nd. And that wouldn't give us enough time for the consultant.
No.
So, okay, so I will second your motion to
Yep.
extend.
And it's not a big deal to get the extension.
Right.
No, we just need to provide the applicant a written notice of the extension.
So how long is the review gonna take? So the whole point of this thing is we're purchasing this property if we get this permit, so then we're just the way it could be. How long, Tom, do you have an idea how long this is gonna take? Is it gonna take 6 months? Is it gonna take 10 months?
I would plan on
To the
8
government.
to 10 months until you hear otherwise, but this county board, as the regulatory government unit, can request an EAW through a variety of means. This site is just below the 40-acre threshold for a mandatory EAW, but this board, as the regulatory government unit, can request an EAW. That's up to you to make a decision on that, but I would recommend talking with your attorney before you move forward on that.
Sure. And I guess I just felt that if we didn't have to do that, it saves you money. And, we can have this done for free. I mean, I realize that we could, require a discretionary EAW, but. I mean, that's just gonna be expensive for you and, I guess I didn't feel that was necessary.
Yeah.
And how do we initiate an environmental review as well? Where does that come from?
We could just ask to have one done, but, like I said, I just thought. Why put you through that expense when we can have the study through the DNR done for free?
Right.
Well, it cover the same areas of concern.
No, I think the DNR study would be more beneficial for our purposes.
There is another note is a mile and a half straight north of this, you guys approved a rock quarry there, it's a dynamite doing the same process we're doing there, it's in the same neighborhood. Without any water.
Wasn't that in 2003?
I believe so, yes.
Same process, so, yeah,
Yeah, I guess I can't speak to what they did 23 years ago.
right.
We do have a motion in a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chair, if I may, we're right now we're focusing strictly on one aspect of our concerns. I really see that there's three separate aspects here. The one we're talking about, of course, is the effect on neighboring wells and so forth. We also have to address the concerns about health as well. That's a separate issue from well water. And we also have to take a look at the third thing, and that is the direct impact on neighboring properties values. So I really think this is a threefold area we need to be considering here. It's not as simple as just saying that it complies with wells. There's more concerns.
Right, I guess in my mind, the one thing that if you once destroy a water supply, no amount of money is gonna fix it.
Absolutely.
And that's my biggest concern.
Yeah.
And not to say that it would happen, but I'd like more information to know.
Yeah.
If it's more likely to happen.
Yeah. But all three of these variables need to be considered.
Okay, yeah. But I guess, yeah, for now, if the 60-day extension, we'll consult our attorney and find out where to go next. And we'll obviously let them know.
Right.
As soon as we know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Can I say something else or not?
Sure.
Why not?
And I really appreciate the turnout here today, guys. And like Mr. Walgreen said, it takes courage to get up in front of this group, so I commend you guys for that. We're not that
I
scared.
just got a big mouth.
Well,
Sorry. The one other concern I have is, okay, I know people out in that area and I'm friends with them, which has nothing to do with this, but this sounds funny, but I go out and take care of their dogs when they're gone. And I have to drive on that gravel road every time. And I have to go north when I go on that gravel road. And even on the normal rainy days, that road is a sloppy mess. And I just think about, okay, if there's this great big truck coming and I'm going the other way, who's gonna get over? Am I gonna have to drive in the ditch or way on the side and end up in the ditch? And two, the farmers use that road all the time. And there's cattle out in that area and they all feed and stuff out there. Well, you get this big tractor with whatever's on it and meeting these trucks. Who's gonna get by? So that, I mean, that's probably just a weird concern, but I know there are a lot of people with their kids and dogs that walk out on that road. I don't know why, cause I wouldn't be walking on a gravel road, but that's just there, what they do. But anyway, that was one thing that I had thought about too, so, but thank you.
Thank you.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
Hi, my name is Tim Everett, and I stopped at the city office the other day to see what they said after the meeting. And the gal, she kept talking about this project and the LGR's project at the same sentence, because they are also trying to get a rock crusher. And they're redoing, taking down the elevator and trying to expand to the south side. And it seems like they're mixed up on the two things together because they're happening at the same time. So I think you should reach out to Jasper again to see if they're not mixed up, because it's all happened at the same time. And they don't seem to care about the Jasper quarry because that's been there forever. So why are they gonna contest? But then now you're trying to have them contest about this, which they say they're talking about the same thing at the same time down there. And the new gal Renee, she just came from Alaska. So she's originally from town, her family is, but I don't think they have their story straight on what they're talking about.
Well, and that the LGR spin in the south end of Jasper, reference that. Historically, that has been just slabs out of there. I don't think they do a lot of crushing there.
But they're trying to do something new, yeah. at the same time,
Get a permit then for.
and maybe he's the same
Take it
guy.
Rock County.
Actually, it's around.
It's in Rock County, so we will. Talk about that one ourselves.
Okay,
Rock County.
well, I'm just saying, the city office seems like they're confused on the two together
That's
when I
right.
talk to them, so if you can inform them again to check on something, because I don't think they have their back straight.
Okay, thank you.
And because of the importance of this and also the amount of response we got back, I've got a number of people contacting me. I think
We all
I
have.
one too. So Kyle, even though perhaps legally, technically, we notified the city of Jasper, I feel it's incumbent upon us to make sure that they understand the gravity of this. And I would like to get more input from them as well too. Like it says, they have to make a recommendation. I want to see that recommendation, you know.
I did request one and never received a response.
Some things get lost in emails and letters and so forth. We need to make personal contact and make sure that they're obviously now being more aware, to be honest. Till 2 weeks ago, I wasn't aware of this concern. I did, you know, was an issue.
I do also want to just caution the board. I mean, if you are truly gathering new data, it should really truly go back to the planning commission.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, just to be aware of that, it's,
You know, and that was the question I had. So do we actually need to move and take action?
Not at this
on-
time.
on sending it back to planning?
Out of this guy.
Okay.
Can I ask one more thing? Okay. If we get new data and stuff like that, can we be privy to it? And
Oh,
not-
oh, yeah, it'll be,
Not left out in the dark.
no, it'll be public knowledge.
Because there's certain people I don't trust around here.
No, any information that we have here is public data.
Right.
Yeah, all the meetings, everything is.
Yeah, I think that pretty much concludes this item for today. And you had something else, yeah?
I'll just withhold that. I can cover that any day. It's pertaining feedlots and wellhead protection, so there's no action required on that. It's just information for the board.
Okay.
So due to the time, I'll just bring that back another day.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Will we receive notice the next time this subject is being discussed, or how are we supposed to?
Anything that we discuss here as a county commission, Steve, as our administrator, always puts on the agenda, as posted publicly. When the meeting's gonna be and what the agenda is.
It's on our
Like
website.
the agenda here, it's on our website, so yes, anything we discuss is.
For the commission too.
The planning commission,
Yeah, both planning commission or the county board, we noticed and review an agenda ahead of time.
yeah.
It's all on our website, I believe.
And I have a local email address.
I don't have a computer. To know all this stuff.
It's posted in the lobby here.
The legal newspaper.
Newspaper.
There's a hearing.
Yeah.
Hey,
Thanks.
that's it for now.
Sorry.
I'm sorry to announce what you see. Everyone said.
You want to hold the picture?
Yeah.
There's no way Kyle's issues. Nobody's getting money. Why is he so?
Then you fill that's where in the he's like sure like
Yeah.
it's a gold digger or.
How you doing?
You go there, which was very around the ball.
Peter floor in your truck. Well, warmed up.
Well, summer's coming, tell him. I'll stop down, I'll stop on the shop there. I got some.
I think that, you know, the bed was fine, fine.
You got 3 away. I went 3 away.
It's fine.
They week I'm like, see.
I think so.
They're coming sober shirts.
I'll get it to you.
Yeah, I can take those.
File it in now, we will.
Welcome back.
Yeah. Oh, make sure. That sounds great.
Now we got happy people now, but. Lots of.
It's good. He had to take his daughter to the doctor. I didn't know.
Yeah, quicker, you know, if I-
And then of course. On there.
Been here for 30 years. We're not there right now.
Yeah, all right.
Thank you, everyone, for patiently waiting. I promise your award. Earlier in this meeting, the board approved resolution 59-21-26, recognizing all of you for your dedicated years of service. And each and every single one of you truly have made an impact, not only with me, but here within the county. So this certificate of recognition does not do justice for what you truly bring here each and every day. On behalf of everyone, the board, I just want to say thank you. I'm going to recognize everyone individually, starting with 5-year increments. If you noticed, we have a few individuals back from 2024 and 2025 that did not receive their recognition. So they will be recognized here today. But if you see someone, hey, they've been here longer than 5 years, yes, they certainly have. But they're just getting the 5-year award. So again, thank you everyone for coming. So first up, we have Danielle Thompson. 5 years in 2024. With EMS. Carl, whom, I believe he's here. He also has 5 years with EMS. Liz Winslow, 5 years with EMS. Amanda Larson Sandy, 5 years as our auditor treasurer. Neil Hopper, 5 years in highway. Kimber DeBono, 5 years with corrections. Nate Sobel, 5 years with highway. Mackenzie Toft, 5 years with the sheriff's office. Emerson Winter. Melissa Rosendahl.
Not here.
Not here. Dustin Seiler, 10 years with the sheriff's office. Ryan Bridgewater, 10 years with the sheriff's office. Derek Farr, 10 years with the sheriff's office. Must have been a good hiring year. Brian Danks, 10 years with the sheriff's office. Nicole Schwabach, 10 years with soil and water. Danielle Evers, also 10 years with soil and water. Jeffrey Rowden has 15 years with the Sheriff's Department. Tyler Ribbentrop, 15 years with the Sheriff's Department. Paul Matthews, 15 years with the Sheriff's Department. Next up, Casey Siebert, 20 years. Bill Folger has 20 years. Just in time. Edison Dengler, 20 years with the Sheriff's Department. Sandy Erickson, 25 years. Keith Freeman has 25 years. And Jared Johnson, 30 years. And I have one more, Mr. Steve Ewing. This year, he is getting an award for 25 years of service. We recognize on continuous years of service. However, Steve is in the midst of his 43rd year at Pipestone County. So a couple weeks ago, I sent out a quick questionnaire asking recipients of this award to fill in the blanks. Little did they know it was a little Mad Lib. So these are Steve's responses mixed in with our Mad Lib. So Steve has had many more than day one of Pipestone County. First as an emergency medical service coordinator from 86 to 94. Then as deputy emergency management director from 86 to 94, dual role. County auditor from 95 to 98. EMS director from 2000 to 2018. And most recently as our county administrator since 2018. Fast forward 43 years and let the record show Steve has survived things nobody actually trains you for, including moving from a monthly to semi-monthly payroll. Thank you for that, Steve. On the days when quitting may have felt logical, when the printer was jammed and the inbox was full, and the meeting absolutely could have been an email, he stayed. Why? His wife, Linda, the department heads, and the commissioners helped keep him going. He knew he would get through it, and honestly, we should all take notes. Over the years, Steve has seen many positive changes. He is especially proud of the way department heads work together and their staff and serve the public. In his words, I am so blessed to have the opportunities here at the county, and I would not trade these experiences I have had here. His advice to new employees, take a deep breath. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Reach out to your staff, peers, and family. Ask for advice and assistance. You are not expected to know it all. As for what drew him to public service in the first place, Steve said it best, it's not just a job, it's making a difference by serving the public every day. I don't know why I'm crying. I'm getting the word. The difference by serving the public every day throughout the services the county provides. Steve, we're not sure how you did it. I'm just really glad you did. Congratulations. 43 years.
You all. You guys do, thank you.
Back. Thank all you guys. Appreciate it.
Everybody.
Thank you all. Next Tuesday is our employee appreciation potluck. So please come for that. And we'll have dessert provided in recognition of all of you. So thanks again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know, I think the 21 was that, that's it. That's right. So you gotta use, you gotta use. You might have a little bit of agree. I was 21.
I couldn't fill it. I can take your picture.
I mean, it's me by myself.
All right. I think I want to take one for you.
Thank you.
I don't know if they're gonna, so. Oh, okay.
Might as well come in time to get kicked out.
Gene? For the.
Nelson.
Yeah.
Come on in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just here to get approval to order for standing desks. The ones that we have, I think only 2 of us have standing. Mine goes all the way up, or for both, it's a L. And, actually, when it goes up, my phone wants to fall off. And then, Lexi's only one side goes up, but I don't think it even works. And so that's, my proposal. I did go get, quotes with, Business Essentials. And, we budgeted 12,000 and my, proposal came in at 13,304, so pretty close to what we put on the budget. And these prices are good till May 1st, so.
I want to get her in right away in this before the prices change, etc. And as far as setup goes, Kyle will do that in-house, we don't have to pay the company, which was gonna be $4,000 or $5,000 to
Deliver it
So
and
we'll do
then
that. The Kyle work on the installation setup here.
Company total desk is
just
Four. Yep. Much appreciated.
They'll make it a much more efficient working atmosphere up there. They will stand, so they need to do, have their equipment nearby. Just make it a lot more efficient in their small space. And it's a way to look at that as well. They do have almost the most people in the smallest office in the courthouse.
And we've done this elsewhere in most well for other departments, and it's absolutely, as long as you've done your homework on pricing, that price is over, so.
There's like stuff.
Yeah, I will move that we approve this request for these 4 desks.
I'll second that. Motion, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
What's our timeline to get it to you? Any idea?
I will ask you very much. I hope it's only a few weeks, and then, Kyle said he would unload them. Bring the debts where they need to. Probably get more budget for.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Yeah. Well.
What's next? Closed session, real estate. Yeah, we do that, need a motion to go to closed session. I'll make the motion. I'm sorry. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Going into closed section for the consider real estate purchase parcel 18-112-0010 block 2nd Avenue Southwest. According to the Minnesota statute 13E.05 subdivision 3 part 3.
Would you have, Mr. Chairman, would you have time for a quick comment before you go into closed session?
Sure.
Sure, go ahead, Dan.
Well, that's Stephanie.
Hi.
Hi, Stephanie Woodburn, City Administrator, City of Pipestone. Just wanted to, let you guys know that yesterday the city council will meet, with interest by the Central School property that you guys are gonna talk about today.
We have interest in building a recreational facility, to serve the public there. And just wanted to make sure, sent the information to Steve and Amanda, just wanted to make sure that everybody got that. So.
Thank you.
That's all.
Thank you.
Before you go, so what's the scope of the recreational facility? What are you thinking about at this time?
Currently we are doing community surveys, so we're still in the planning stages. But, it has been talked about with the council, and we would like to essentially build a new recreation facility. The one we're in currently is Lidditz Life. It serves the public in many ways, young age to old, and, we're just looking for something bigger. So we ultimately don't know exactly, the detailed specs of our plans, but that's what's been discussed, possibly a splash pad maybe nearby. Maybe an addition of City Hall on top of it, so options are kind of open, but that's ultimately our goal, is to add recreation to the community.
Any idea what would happen with the existing site then?
There's been talk of, selling it to maybe another entity in Pipestone that utilizes it frequently. But like I said, still kind of at the planning stages. We're looking for a site first so we can start, developing, get an architect involved and develop plans. So.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, appreciate your time.
Unmuted? Okay.
Okay, we are back in session.
And in the closed session, of course, obviously, we don't make any decisions in the closed session, so we come back into open session. Now that the back in open session, I move that we adjourn the meeting.
I'll second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
The door is open, guys.
We're done.
How soon do you think you can act on this?
Okay.
Yeah.
The board took no action, so that means you guys can buy it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's still, always has been.
Available for sale
Yep.
in the auditor's office, over the counter.
so you would be the contact person?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
And again, Amanda,
do closing costs and all that.
Okay.
and explain that nothing has changed since it first went, since there was no bids on it 3 years ago. At that point, because there's no bids, the way that works is the first person to come in at the check or the minimum bid amount that nobody bid on, they own it.
Well, the city council approved purchasing it for the 72,000
Yep.
plus fees.
Got it.
Right, and so if somebody doesn't come between now and bring your check in, it's never done yet, so.
Whoever writes the check first.
Yeah,
It's available for sale over the counter.
we'll take a debit card.
You want 72
How many?
for your own fees? Then they'll be separate, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll do it separate, have more together.
Do you develop the purchase agreement or who does?
We don't usually with tax forfeiture stuff, we don't usually any type.
So you just need.
We have some forms, yeah, we have some purchase information forms for that we need, like for the.
Right.
You
Whatnot.
just need a check from us then.
That-
You just need a check from us.
Yeah, so what I can do is I'll get together, shoot you guys an email with the